Hello everyone, can you guys hear me? Fine. So we'll just wait for a couple of minutes for getting people to join and then we can start. Let me know if you cannot hear me properly or something because of the way I'm standing, and I can arrange the mic and stuff. Okay. So I guess everything is good. So yep. And just wait for a few more minutes, let new people join and then we can proceed. Hope everyone's doing safe. How's everyone having the weekends? Good weekend? How is it out there? I heard it's been really hot nowadays. I mean, out here it's still very gloomy today, so it's kind of it's a dull day. Yesterday was a beautiful day out here, but today it's kind of messed up. So it's going to be a boring Sunday for us, anyways. So yeah, anyways, we can start right now. Let me introduce myself. My name is Dhaval. I currently live in Michigan, USA. I work as an engineer in the automotive industry, and I do like cooking. If you guys saw the video and the story before, I'm the same person. Only thing the beard's gone now. So don't be surprised if it looks different. Uh, Apart from that, yeah, I just wanted to thank Devil Circuit for allowing me to be there and host this event. What I'm trying to do today is I'm going to cook something healthy, fun, and hopefully something which you guys like making. I'm going to make a Thai curry. And the reason why I thought Thai curry is because it's something which I genuinely am interested about. It's something which I have been eating out here for a long time, and I genuinely like how satisfying that thing is. So that's why I thought it's something which I'll go and make right now. It's very easy to make, and it's kind of important. The main thing to do with the Thai curry is the fact that you make the red curry paste at home. The fact that when you make the red curry paste at home, it adds so much more flavor to it that you will notice a stark difference than what you actually get in the restaurant. One thing before I start, the phone's a bit further away, so I probably will take questions at the end of the cooking because I can't see them right now. So I can leave some time in the end wherein I'll take some questions with you guys. So without further ado, I will start cooking this thing, and while we're cooking, I'll give a bit of my background. You'll get to know a bit about me, and we'll try to keep it interactive. If you have any questions, feel free to type them, and I will get back to you at the end of this session. So Thai curry, right? Like the main thing with the Thai curry is the red curry paste. So what the red curry paste is, it's just like a concentrated paste which you make. This is for the Facebook and YouTube viewers, this is for the Instagram people. It's mainly a paste which is made with lemongrass, onions. So for onions, I use like a red onion, a small little red onion, around this size, and you just cut it up finely. Along with that, you add some garlic, lemongrass, ginger, soy sauce, sugar, a little bit of coconut milk. Along with that, you add some dried red chilies, some coriander and cumin powder, and then you like blend it all up. And then once it's all blended, you get this thick, you get a paste. It's not as thick as this, it's a bit more runny. But what you end up doing is that you cook it on with oil on a low flame for some amount of time till the raw taste of the onions and garlic get cooked out. The reason you do that so that it develops this intense flavor into it and it gets this dark color which you get at the end of it. The recipe for this I will post at the end of the blog, so I'll tell you exactly how much of the onions and the garlic and stuff you need to do. So what I did out here was I just took that ingredients, I blended them, and I sort of partly cooked it, so it's not completely all the way cooked. So I'm just going to do that right now. So what I did right now is I got the gas on, it's heating up, and I'm going to take this curry paste and I'm going to just nicely put this in to this pan with some little oil in the pan. Again, this paste is not something which you need to make. You can easily use any store-bought paste. It's not going to taste any different, but I will definitely recommend making this paste because it just tastes so much better by doing this. So there it goes. I'm just got the oil hot, and I'm just going to put this into the pan now, and I can just let it cook for a few minutes so that I can just cook the ingredients out of it. So while that's going on, I can give. This is just going to take a couple of minutes at the same time. So just a bit about myself. So I was born and brought up in Mumbai. I ended up doing my undergraduate in India in electrical engineering, and then I came out here to do my master's at University of Michigan in aerospace engineering. Funny enough, because I was fascinated by planes, but unfortunately, I'm not working in the same industry. I am working in the car industry, working as a specialist at Fiat Chrysler Automotive. And what I do out there is kind of working with the engines designs and stuff. So working with a lot of new engine technologies and introducing them for like new model years. One of a brand which is Jeep is very famous in India, and that's something which is a really popular money maker for us. So if you end up following my page, I will give you a Jeep discount. And yeah, so I think I got this thing a bit cooked. So it's like you can get like the nice aroma of this curry. It's just a very thick, molten kind of consistency. Once you, yeah, I can just show that. And once you have that thing done, what you do is you take some coconut milk. This is 1 can of coconut milk, which I have. I've just removed it from the can into this container. And I just pour this into this curry paste and just give it a nice stir. So this coconut milk is what adds the creaminess. Just make sure that before you add this coconut milk, you have the curry cooked completely, the paste. Otherwise, the raw taste of the onions and garlic will come in, and it is not going to be that soothing on your palate. So you just add this coconut milk into this curry and just nicely give it some, stir it up, and you will see the color change inside. I'll show that later, but it will be like a nice little red orange color which will be developing out here. And this stuff needs to cook for at least like 10 minutes, I would say, because you need to cook the milk down. In general, I like my Thai curry to be a little thick consistency. I don't like it too runny. So that is why I will want to just cook this out a lot more. So, yep. So it's funny, while this is cooking, I can tell you. So when I came here to study in the US, I genuinely wasn't so much into cooking. Like back in India, when I was living out there, the only thing which I could make was Maggi noodles and toast. The thing was, when I came here, I was kind of forced to cook, right? Like on a student, you don't have that much money, so you're on a limited budget. So you can't keep eating out every single day. And then otherwise, yeah, and there's no mom sitting at home out there to cook for you. So I ended up taking on cooking. And again, initially it was just cooking really, really basic stuff. And we had a lot of disasters, right? Like it was just eating frozen packet stuff. I was just ready to eat things. But over time, I realized that thing is not sustainable. I got kind of unhealthy, gained a lot of weight. So that kind of prompted me to change my lifestyle and improve my living. So that's why I ended up getting into cooking. And the last few years, I have developed this interest into cooking so that I do more and more of these things along the time. And I think what inspired me to cook a lot more and actually made me love cooking was the fact that, and however funny it may sound, it was when I bought this house. When we bought this house had a really fancy done kitchen. It was really well remodeled. And that kind of, when I saw that, I was like, I need to spend more time in this place. So I did end up doing a lot more cooking just because of the fact that we bought this place. And then apart from that, Netflix also helped a lot. There were a lot of good documentary shows for cooking related things. Couple of them which I can recommend is Chef's Table. There was also the Final Table, which was a nice cooking show. These shows kind of broadcast the life of these world-renowned famous chefs, and it was pretty inspiring to see how they go about with their journey, right? Like they started with very humble beginnings, and they ended up kind of creating a niche for themselves, looking at their ethnic cuisines and then growing it. So yeah, that's where I kind of ended up getting into cooking. So while this curry is cooking, I have with me some tofu which I had marinated. I am a vegetarian, so in general, this is a vegetarian dish. If you want, there are meat substitutes. You can use chicken. If you want, you can even use paneer, and it would be fine. So what I did with this tofu was you need to marinate it with 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, one small orange, the juice of that. I added some of that orange zest to it also, and I added half a tablespoon of maple syrup to it and some salt. And you need to marinate it for almost around 30 minutes, not more than that. And what I'm going to do with this tofu is I'm just quickly going to take a few pieces of this. This is approximately half a slab of tofu. You don't need this much. The current recipe is just for like 2 portions, so it requires probably just around half of this. So I'm just going to put this on a pan, and I just want to get a nice little cook on this tofu because I have something interesting in mind with this, and I can go over that. So I got a pan where I just put a little bit of oil in it and just getting it hot. So I wanted to use this tofu in 2 ways. One is the conventional way wherein we just put it on the plate inside the curry. The other thing, I wanted to incorporate it with the quinoa and try to make some interesting but simple thing with it. So right now I just got this pan heating up. I think so once that's hot enough, I will just put a few of these pieces onto that. Not a lot, just around, like I said, just half of these are required. And I don't want to cook it a really long time, just a little bit of a cook. So it should not be that I don't want to keep it on the pan for too long because I'm going to cook some of them again in a different way. So I just wanted to make sure that it's not completely raw. So, yep. Just getting it nicely cooked for a bit. Yeah, so like the other thing which kind of has inspired me to cook a lot more nowadays is the fact that we have been traveling a lot over the last couple of years. There's been this big travel bug which we have got, and that kind of travel has made us visit like different parts of the world. And then me and my wife, we both are really big foodies. So wherever we go, the cuisine of that place plays a really important part in deciding our destination, right? And it's a big it's a big part of the whole experience which we have there. And over the last few years, we've been to Japan, UK, France, Italy, and then along with that, we did a trip just before this lockdown. We did a trip to Budapest, Vienna, and Prague. We also made a trip to Amsterdam. So all these places kind of have their own unique food scenes and cultures, and that's something which was something which I want to try to blend with my cuisine. So that's why what I'm going to do with my tofu today is kind of based on what we did in Italy. So in Italy, we had this dish called an arancini. So an arancini is nothing much more than a bunch of rice. For those who are familiar with it, it's rice, and inside that rice you put some cheese. You make a ball of that. You bread it up, and then you deep fry it. I don't want to do any of that stuff because I want to make it healthy. So instead of doing it in the conventional way with the rice, I took some quinoa, which I've boiled. This quinoa I've kept it pre-boiled, but it just needs the water to quinoa ratio is 1:2. You just boil it up. One thing which you do when you boil it is make sure that you slightly overcook it so that it's a bit soft and you can like nicely roll it into a ball. So you can get it that way. So I just overcooked a little bit of the quinoa. And what I'm going to do in the quinoa is I am going to take a tofu as a cheese and I'm going to put that inside it. And I'm going to kind of make this little ball out there. And then I'm going to fry it. So the thing is, I'm not much into frying. So I have this thing. This is an air fryer out here. I don't know if it's visible, but that air fryer is going to be the healthier alternative of frying it. The other thing with frying is you need to use a lot of bread flour. I, again, did not want to use that. I want it to be healthy. So what I did for that was I took some steel cut oats and I crushed them to create this oatmeal flour. So it's a healthier alternative of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some quinoa, put some tofu in it, make the ball, bread it in this thing, and then I'm going to put it in the air fryer for a few minutes, around 5 to 6 minutes at like 200 degrees Celsius. And once that's there, it'll form a nice little ball. So it's a much more interesting way of having the quinoa. It makes it just a bit more funky. You don't need to do that. If you want to, if you don't have an air fryer or you don't not interested in doing this, you can easily swap the quinoa out for noodles, for rice, or even you can just and eat it the same way. You don't need to make the arancini balls out of it. Also, you can just serve it conventionally on the side. But I just thought this would be a nice, fun thing to do. So I have my tofu, which is already almost ready right now. Yep. So I'll turn this off. I'll turn the gas here. This the curry is still cooking right now. It's going to take it. So on a medium heat, it's just going to go on for a bit. So I'll let that go on. So what I'm going to do out here is make sure that your hands are clean first. Most important is grab a bit of the quinoa, and kind of roll a ball out of it with your hand. And after that, what I'll do is just take one piece of the tofu. One piece of the tofu inside, and I'm just going to kind of make a little ball around it. So you just keep, and you need to keep adding more quinoa. You'll get an idea of how much quinoa you need to add to it. It will kind of give you some feedback as to when it's done or not. So you just need to keep adding it and just keep rolling it into a ball. If you feel that it's not happening or the quinoa is too dry, the simple thing which you can do is just add some more water to it and just give it a little boil so that it will get more mushy. The idea is the quinoa has to be really mushy, otherwise it's not going to hold the form of a ball. So you just need to keep putting it like this, where it's going to just make sure that the tofu is completely wrapped inside that quinoa. Have any of you guys been to Italy and had these things out there? They taste really amazing if you do. I would definitely recommend having one of these out there. It's so yummy. Only thing is it's really unhealthy because it's like deep fried, cheesy. But well, all in those things have their day, right? So yeah, I just need to clean my hands, so I'll just stop by for a minute and I'll just be back. Yep, so I just wanted to clean up a bit out there because it's just got a bit dirty and I don't like this is something which I obsess over. I don't like a dirty kitchen. So my quinoa was kind of a bit it wasn't as soft as it needed to be. So what I did was I just added a little water to it and I just microwaved it for like 30 seconds so that it gets more mushy so that it can hold the shape. So my curry right now is still going on. It's still kind of cooking down. You'll see that the coconut milk will keep reducing. You need to reduce it a little to probably around, like I said, I like my curry a bit thicker. So I let you reduce it by at least half of it so that I can use it for just because as a consistency I like. If you don't like it that much, you don't need to reduce it as much as I try to reduce it. So I think my quinoa is boiled. I'm just gonna go grab it. Oh yeah. So I think now this should be fine. It's just a bit hot. Yep, much better. So I'm just going to roll just like a couple of these balls. Um, for each portion, you just need one of these. You don't need a lot of these out there. So I'm just going to do that. Uh, okay, there you go. So once you have this done, it looks like a ball like this. I'm going to just bread it in this oat flour for a bit so that it gets a nice little coating of it. Just be careful, it creates a bit of a mess. So just make sure that. And then I'm just going to put this inside the air fryer for 5 minutes. And I'll be back. Just my wash my hands. So the other thing which I'm going to do is right now, once I have my tofu cooked out, is I've got some veggies on the side, which I am going to saute, which I can have with my curry. So this is just going to be a quick thing. In this, I just took like a bunch of chopped veggies. It's just onions, red pepper, some carrots. You can use anything you want. You don't need to use the same thing. You typically, again, don't need so much. You just need around 1 cup of veggies per person. And what I'm doing out here is I'm just going to heat them up in an oil and I'm going to cook them really quick for just a couple of minutes for some time. I've got the oil which is hot and I'm just going to add them in this hot oil for a bit. Give it a nice little stir. Just make sure that the flame is really high when you do this because you want it to cook really quickly but on a really high flame. The reason you do that is because I like my vegetables with a bit of crunch. And then if you cook it sauteed for a longer time, you lose that crunch and that's not something which you want. So that's why I kind of keep it nice and hot. So you have to cook it at a high flame for just around 2 minutes. And once it's done, I'm going to add a little bit of salt to it and a little bit of curry powder to it so that it just adds a little bit of taste. So this is going to cook it in. Take a little bit of salt and just season it a bit. And some curry powder, which is out here. Just give it a nice little mix. Again, like I said, I don't want to cook my veggies for too long. It's just supposed to be enough to just get it cooked, but I still want the crunch. So that's why I just do it at a really high flame just for around a couple of minutes. So that's about it. And then I take it off the gas, and that's it. Meanwhile, my curry has reached the consistency which I wanted it to. You can see it's still a bit runny. But what I'm going to do right now is this is something which I typically like doing with my Thai curry. Is I like to add a bit of peanut butter to it. So this peanut butter gives it a nice nutty taste as well as it makes it really, really creamy. So that is why I'm going to take this peanut butter and I'm going to add that to my curry. This is approximately 2 to 3 tablespoons of peanut butter, and I'm going to add that peanut butter into my curry, and then just let it mix. So my curry is almost done now. Once I get this peanut butter, you should add this right towards the end of it, so that it doesn't require a lot of time to cook. It's just to add a little bit of creaminess to the overall Thai curry. And once it's added, you just let it mix it up inside, give it a good stir, and you notice that after some time, this thing will get a lot thicker. So, yep. Apart from that, just one more thing about myself, which you guys probably don't know, is I'm a big Arsenal Football Club supporter, and I have so much so that last year we made a trip to the UK just to see an Arsenal game. That was one of the main reasons to do that, and we saw an Arsenal Chelsea game, and it was a 2-2 draw, which was a lot of fun. I don't know if any of you all are football fans. If you are, let me know in the comments. It'll be nice. And if you're a Tottenham supporter, then I'm not going to answer your questions. So like I have my curry cooked, and right now I have pretty much most of my things almost ready so that I can just plate it. So I have my red curry, which is cooked. I will just give it a quick taste to make sure that the salt and stuff is okay in it. Yep. I just need a little bit of salt. So I'll just give that salt to it. Otherwise, you should be getting something which is like creamy in text, creamy, and it's got a little bit of spiciness to it because I like a little bit of kick in it. If you don't, then you can reduce the amount of red chilies which are going into your paste. But I like it a bit with a kick, so I'm going to do that. I will check on my arancini right now. I think it needs a couple of more minutes yet, so I'm just going to give it a few minutes more. Meanwhile, I can get on with plating everything else on my plate. Everything else I have ready. So I have my veggies which are ready. I have my curry which is ready, and I have my quinoa which is almost about to get ready. So I guess everything is all good. So I'm going to just turn this gas off, and I'm going to end up plating it. So when I've been looking at all these documentaries on Netflix, right, I have been kind of very inspired by the way they present the food. And that's something which I've been trying to do with my cooking over the last few months, right? Like I want to make the food look pretty. So I do put a lot of emphasis on the way I plate my dishes. And the main thing about plating is the two advantages of it. The first thing, of course, is that your food looks pretty. And the second, more important one, is that it provides inherent portion control, right? So you don't end up eating a lot. You just eat how much is served to you. And the reason I do that again is in this lockdown, you want to stay healthier so you don't end up overeating. The other thing about portion control is, which I read this somewhere, and it's a really fun fact, right? Like somehow, or I don't know who said this, but one of the chefs had said it on one of the documentaries which I was seeing, is that if you end up serving something a lot more in excess, people don't want more of it, right? They get satisfied. So you should always give them 80% of what they need so that they always look for that little bit more every time. Just a pro tip, remember next time. So what I'm going to do right now is I've got a way of plating this thing. So I got my veggies here, and I am going to just line them up along a bowl kind of plate like this. You don't need to do it this way. It's just something which I kind of like to do. So what I'll do is I got a spoon, and I'm just going to take them with the spoon and line these veggies up along the edge of this bowl so that it forms like kind of an arc kind of shape. It will be that way. So again, this is for 2 people. So right now you can get the amount of veggies I've put in. It's approximately for 2 plates, but I'm just going to plate one of them. So the reason why I started doing this was it was funny. Is that towards the end of last year, I started having these small little events at home wherein I used to call a group of my friends, colleagues, anyone, and then I would just try to experiment with food with them. And it would be this theme wherein I would end up taking plated meals like this and just serving them and presenting them in a fancy way. A lot of my cooking at that time was focused on like taking Indian food and like trying to add some twist to it. So if you want, you can check out my profile on Instagram and you can see some of the things which I've posted out there. And if you do like it, please follow that page. I would appreciate it. I will also add some of the tofu which I actually had made the balls from, but I'm going to add some of this tofu also to the plate so that it will. So right now I think I'll need some help. So I'm going to introduce my wife out here. She's going to be the one helping me getting the arancini. This is Paulami. Say hi, Paulami.
Hi.
So I put some tofu also along with this out here. So she's checking the arancini for me. So she's always the one who kind of helps me be insane. So this is how I lined up the veggies. If you see, it's just like an arc out there. And so yeah, this is how the arancini ball looks like. So it's breaded with the thing, quinoa, and it's with the oat flour on it. So you can see it's like a nice little ball of the quinoa and the tofu is kind of inside the middle of that. So I got the thing done. I'm going to take some of this curry and I'm going to pour it in the space out here in between. Just ladle some of the curry into it. There we go. It's almost done. Not a lot of it, just a little bit. So again, it looks nice and pretty. And then I am going to take this arancini ball of mine and place it in the center of the plate like this. And at the same time, just to add a little make pretty, I got some crushed peanuts. So I roasted peanuts, which I've crushed. And I'm going to add that as a garnish. So I'm going to add this as a garnish on top of the veggies. Just a little bit of them so that the peanut, I genuinely like peanut. I'm like a big peanut addict. So my wife has to stop me from overeating those ones whenever they come home. And that's why we don't get a lot of them at home. And then the last thing which I do is I have some dried basil leaves. If you don't have the basil, you can use cilantro. You can use fresh basil, which goes a lot better. But I don't have fresh basil right now. So that's why I have some of these dried basil leaves. And I'm just going to add this as a little bit of a garnish on the dish. Just the pinch so that it just adds some of the basil. I love the taste of basil, and fresh basil is amazing. We used to grow that in the backyard, but in the winter it just died. So hopefully I'll be able to grow it again. So there you have it. My Thai curry is ready. I'm going to just take a nice picture of this, and this is how it looks. I don't know if it's visible. I'll just lift the camera up so you can see it. This is how the curry looks. It's not visible yet. There it is. Yep. So it looks like a pretty little plate of curry in general. And for the people on Facebook, this is also how it is. And I'll be uploading a picture of the final thing. So there you have it. I'm just going to take a quick taste of this to make sure everything is good. Just a bite of everything else. That's some good Thai curry. So yeah, definitely go. You guys try it out. And sure. And I can just take questions right now. I think I'm done. So if you have some time for questions, I can take them right now. So let me have a look at some of the questions which have been there. Okay, let's see. I saw someone ask me if there was any other substitute for the peanuts. Yes, you can use any nuts in general. You can use crushed almonds, cashew nuts, which we also add. If you want a lot more of richness into it, you can add some cashews. You can add walnuts also to it. You can add toasted pine nuts. Basically, any nut you have, you can just put that on this, and it would taste really good. In fact, yeah, Shobhana, I agree with you. My whole family is a peanut fan too. Did I solve the quinoa as boiling? Yes, I did solve the quinoa at boiling. Just a little bit of salt while I boiled the quinoa because I didn't want the taste. It needs some salt, and that's why I seasoned it. Other thing which you can do along with the quinoa is you can add any other flavor to it also. And right now I kept the oat flour simple, but if you want to add some more fun to your arancini balls, you can take this oat flour and add any other spice to it, right? So you can have a nice breading, which is going to be, think of it like a fried chicken which you have, right? Like they have the crust which kind of has all sorts of herbs and spices on it. So you can do that. Right now I did not do that, I kept it simple. But if you want, you can just take the flour, you can add some chili powder to it, you can add some curry powder to it, and it can just give a different taste to the whole dish. Were there any other questions? I don't think there were. Let me just check on Facebook. And I think, yeah, thanks, and great for everyone for the comments and all. It was really fun. This was my first live session, so it was a different and fun experience for me. And I hope to do more of these in the future. But I had a great time. Hope you too. And yeah, thank you so much for your time. And I will look forward to you. And do check my page out and follow it if you can. Thank you again, Devil Circuit, for letting me do this. Stay fit, stay healthy, and be safe. Thank you, guys.